All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to No Final Bell. I know we said that episode 70 was going to come out Wednesday. Well, unfortunately, that's not what happened. Other things happened. But we were going to release it today. It's Friday, February 10th. We're going to release this episode today. I know last episode we kind of rushed through it, but it was also because it was like 2 weeks ago and we didn't really remember it because we watched it like literally, you know, a week ago type of thing. But this one we're gonna have more about because it's fresher in our minds and everything like that. So
Yeah,
before we get into AEW Dynamite and Rampage, we are going to talk about
the
Impact
much
Wrestling
anticipated return.
of Impact Wrestling.
Yeah,
So take it away, Marty.
yeah. So we start off the night with Ace and Bay of Bullet Club, too sweet, taking on the I guess you could say weird tag team of Kushida and Kevin Knight. Kevin Knight is part of the New Japan LA Dojo, so but unfortunately their pairing did not fare too well against Bullet Club as Bullet Club beat Kushida and Kevin Knight. Next week we learn, I say next week, but we're going to be discussing it on the next episode of No Final Bell, which we do expect to be out on time.
Yes.
Um, but either way, next episode we will be talking about Steph DeLander's debut. Um, NXT fans will remember her as Persia Parada. So there's that. Giselle Shaw beats Savannah Evans, and after the match calls herself the Black Widow of Impact Wrestling because she always she's pretty much the one responsible for breaking up a lot of knockouts tag teams. So that's why she refers to herself as the Black Widow, which is interesting because like the week before she teamed up with Tara, who literally is like her finisher is called the Black Widow, or like even well no, take that back. Her finisher is called the Widow's Peak, but she does pretty much refer to herself as the Black Widow. So then we get back to in-ring action. Crazy Steve beats Sheldon Dean, and after the match, Trey Miguel beats down Tarus and was about to tag Crazy Steve with uh, spray paint, but Steve bites Trey's hand and tags himself with Trey's logo. And then we have Bully Ray running his mouth in the ring, but then Mickey James comes out to interrupt him as he did it to her a few weeks ago and slaps Bully Ray across the face, to which Bully Ray body slams Mickey James. Okay, come on. And was about to powerbomb her through a table before Tommy Dreamer made the save. Um, Next thing is there's not really much to talk about. Kenny King beats Johnny Swinger. And then we go backstage. Matt Cardona gives Joe Hendry a taste of his own medicine and makes his own diss track for Joe Hendry, to which there was only one person that stuck around and was like, oh, yeah, I mean, I kind of liked it, but, you know, and to which he was like, Joe Hendry called me Edge's bitch. And somebody was walking by, he was like, yeah, you are Edge's bitch. So, um, in which we now know that on the next show, Matt Cardona will face Joe Hendry for the digital media title, as well as the Good Hands, John Schuyler and Jason Hotch, will take on Mickey James and Tommy Dreamer. Also, qualifying matches for a number one contenders fatal four-way at No Surrender start, one of which being Brian Myers versus Dirty Dango, the other being Shira versus PCO. Also on that show, we get the unusual pairing of Killer Kelly and Taylor Wilde versus the Death Dolls. I believe it is non-title, um, but then we have the main event of the night: the Design and Callahan in an eight-man tag against Josh Alexander, Frankie Kazarian, Yuya Uemura, and Rich Swann. To which Callahan gets the win for the Design. So Callahan is still in that initiation process. He's got to go through basically 3 more steps since he, I guess, failed step 3. So now it goes on to like step 4, which was to win the match and beat Josh Alexander, Kazarian, Yuya Uemura, and Rich Swann, which he did. So, step 4 of the initiation process for the design with Callahan complete. I still don't quite know how I feel about Callahan joining the design. Like, it's weird because he's already shaved his head, he's already changed his name, he dropped Sammy completely, he's now just Callahan. I don't know how I feel about Callahan joining the design. It's very weird, and essentially like everything that you previously known about the man formerly known as Sammy Callahan at this point is like completely out of the window. So that is the Impact talk of this week. Now we're gonna get on to AEW.
Yeah, starting off hot. We
Very
knew
hot.
about this match that was going to happen in Dayton, Ohio, um, but I thought maybe it was going to be later in the card. No, start off with a banger, 30-minute time limit. This match was like maybe over 20, 25 minutes, maybe at most. Jon Moxley and Adam Hangman Page face off against each other in the rubber match. The second match of the
Although the finish was kind of
yeah,
like,
we'll get to the finish, but Jon Moxley and Adam Hangman Page. Well, Jon Moxley, as soon as Adam Hangman Page was down the ramp,
he didn't even
John
get
Moxley
to the ring before
no didn't get to the
Moxley
John Moxley.
He brought the onslaught right before
Yes,
the
he
bell.
did. Yeah, he brought the onslaught, started beating the crap out of him, went into the crowd, started beating the crap out of him, threw him into the barricade, and went up the steps and everything. No, no, yeah, he did go up the steps with Adam Hangman Page. Then Marty and I is like, oh, what's the
What's the over
under of Moxley blading himself? I said 5 minutes, and shortly after I said that, you could clearly see him going in the ring.
Camera showed
him blading himself over his eye, which bad thing on AEW for doing that. I don't want to expose the business there, but you can clear as day see that he's blading himself. I mean, of course, you don't see the blade in his hand, but you can clearly tell that's exactly what he's doing in the corner there. But clearly, these two men beat the living hell out of each other, slapping, beating each other, dead eye. Where are we gonna get a dead eye? Where are we gonna get a power bomb on the hardest part of the ring? No, unfortunately, didn't get any of that on the hardest part of the ring because Adam Hangman Page just threw him down on the outside. But what we did get was almost a botched pop-up power bomb through the table from Adam Hangman Page to Jon Moxley on the outside. I was saying, and Marty's in agreement with this, it really should have been a no disqualification match.
Yeah, I mean, with how much time they spent on the outside of the ring and all throughout the arena, if not a no disqualification, it should have easily been a false count.
Yeah, I agree. It should have been a false count anywhere. I really do think that you should have had no rules in a match like this, but great way to start off. I figured, and okay, now we're going to get towards the finish. Okay, Adam Hangman Page hits the buckshot lariat, 1-2, kick out. To be honest with you, and I don't want to give a lot of shit to WWE, but if that was WWE, that would have been a win for Adam Hangman Page because a lot of the wrestlers that end up wrestling in their hometown do not win. Where AEW is different, where people in their hometowns will get the victory. Except for maybe Brian Pillman Jr., but we'll talk about that on Rampage. When we talk about Rampage talk. But for this match, You get the buckshot lariat, 1-2 kick out, and then all of a sudden Jon Moxley just rolls over Adam Hangman Page, 1-2-3. Makes exactly both men look weak in this match. And then it makes me wonder, that was the finish? You mean to tell me, of all the beatdowns and everything like that, Adam Hangman Page doing a buckshot, looking strong, you thought, damn, he's going to actually beat Moxley and get heel heat on him, beating him in front of his almost hometown crowd, even though he's an hour away from Cincinnati, he's from Cincinnati. Close enough, Dayton, hour away, close enough. But you thought, okay, damn, he's actually going to beat Moxley. He's going to get that heel heat, and everything. But no, Moxley rolls him up, gets the 1-2-3, and actually beats Adam Hangman Page. And then Moxley has to be held back as Adam Hangman Page looks seriously pissed off. He goes over to Paul Turner's like, what the hell was that? That's the finish kind of thing? Like,
yeah, it's almost as if the finish was like kind of impromptu.
Like it was botched type of thing. Like it wasn't even supposed to happen. I hope something gets cleared out. I hope these men will face off against each other at Revolution, because it seems like it might happen where these two men are not done. You're going to get that final, because they're technically both 1-1 if you think about it. So you got to have that rubber match to be able to break the tiebreaker, which is going to happen at Revolution, I'm thinking. But the thoughts about wanting each other. I mean, if I'm at Adam Hangman Page, I would be pissed too about that finish.
Well, yeah, because not for nothing. Credit to Simon Miller for this, but Hangman lost to the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up.
Yeah, but the thing is that AEW is not a sports entertainment company.
Same thing, though. I mean, come on.
I mean, it's safe to say it's the most deadliest maneuver in pro wrestling. Because, yes, I get it, WWE is sports entertainment, but if you think about it, it's still professional wrestling at the end of the day. It just has that entertainment aspect to it because they're more focused on the entertainment bullcrap than the actual wrestling. I don't know why, but hey, it is what it is. WWE is going to be WWE no matter what. But it just makes you wonder, what the hell, why? I get it, maybe you want to, if you're Tony Khan, you're like, I got to do something to kind of protect both men. And if that's going to be the case... I was
going to say, if you want to protect both men, have a time limit draw. You haven't had a time limit draw in AEW in quite a while.
It would have made sense. Yeah, I get it. It's a 30-minute time limit, and having a match go for, having an hour and a half left after that 30-minute match, yeah, it kind of would have sucked. I can understand why it didn't. But the case of it being a 30-minute time limit made absolutely no sense. It could have still been 20. You could have had a 20-minute time limit draw and still had an hour and 40 minutes left of the show to be able to get your content out and whatnot. I'm just thinking about it this way, Tony Khan. You kind of messed up with that finish, but I hope there's going to be a better thing with the pay-per-view. Bigger payoff at the pay-per-view, and I'm sure there will be. I'm really sure there will be.
There has to be at this point, because there's really no turning back.
All right, so, of course, next episode is going to be talking about Championship Fight Night.
Yeah.
There's a lot. There's 2 title matches and 2 title eliminator matches.
2? I thought there was 3.
Well, there's the World Trios Tag Team titles, the Tag Team titles. I think that's it. Because it's the World Championship Eliminator, and then there's the Women's World Championship Eliminator. Yeah. So there's 2 title matches.
I'm kind of surprised, though, that there's only 2 title matches for Championship Fight Night, because, you could have, potentially the TBS title on the line, but at the same time...
Or, I hate to say it, but as of late, where's been Orange Cassidy defending the All-Atlantic Championship?
That's a good point, too.
Because you could have had that, too. Of course, that's besides the point.
Or even the TNT title.
Well, Samoa Joe just won it, so... Of course, we'll talk about that, too. We did talk about that. We already, but we'll specify more about that match. So, Next episode, it's going to be Jamie Hayter and the Bunny facing off against each other. Thoughts about that one? Honestly, I really do think that Jamie Hayter is going to win. I don't see the Bunny getting a title opportunity. I mean, I will say that you have to figure out who the hell she's going to go up against. Um,
Yeah, because you got to
why
give
not
her
have
like.
Saraya?
I don't think they're gonna thrust her into that position just
But
yet.
it
I
makes you
mean,
wonder who is going to be the one that's going to go after.
it would have to be Saraya, yes, but
It.
like the thing about it is you have to build her up to
I
be
get it. I
a
understand that.
contender.
But like, it makes you wonder, like, with everything that's going on between,
I think they
or
are building to
or
that
maybe you
though.
don't
Like,
have that title go on the line, and then you have just Soraya
yeah,
and
but they
Soraya,
can't do that.
unless you have Britt and Jamie against Soraya and Tony Storm. That could
That
happen.
would that one makes a lot more sense than like.
What if Ruby Soho somehow gets the title opportunity at the World Championship?
I
Because
didn't even think about
she's kind
that.
of in the
Yeah,
picture too. So maybe
she's
I'm
kind of like a
thinking,
tweener.
I kind of think that Ruby Soho is gonna kind of push her way into getting a title opportunity at Revolution.
Well, it also depends because
Yeah,
we
I
don't
know.
know which side she's really on in terms of like Ruby, in
In the
terms of
coming weeks, we'll find out, but I think it's going to be Ruby Soho getting a title opportunity against
it
Jamie
only
Hayter.
makes sense.
Yeah, it kind of does. Which, fine. Now you finally had something for her to do, but really?
I mean, it kind of makes sense going into our next thing here. Britt Baker getting beaten down by
Yeah,
Saraya
so
and Tony
Britt
Storm.
Baker gets beaten down by Saraya and Tony Storm. Thoughts? I would think that what's going to happen is there's going to be a tag team match before anything happens. I think Ruby Soho is going to probably get involved in it, but I think it's going to be in the wrong way. And then she's going to probably say something like, "Hey, I choose the good side. You know what, Jamie Hayter? I want a chance at your title." And I think Jamie's like, "You know what?" With her British accent
Yeah, yeah.
and stuff like that. Or she's going to be like, "You're on at Revolution. You know, I'm gonna put my world title on the line against you," type of thing. So ultimately, I think it's gonna lead into a tag team match, maybe on Rampage. They always seem to put those kind of random matches on Rampage. I don't know why. I think it just should be on Dynamite, but it's probably gonna be on Rampage on Friday. I could be wrong. I could be right. Who knows? Um, so the acclaimed. There's not really much to talk about this.
We didn't even get their names.
No, yeah. They were so much of jobbers that we didn't even get their names. They literally just went right into the match and got beat. The Claim beat some local jobbers, and then the Guns come out to issue the challenge for the tag team titles. Let me tell you something. This got a little personal because they kind of were jaw jacking, and then Billy Guns, you know what? Forget this. I'm just gonna walk out. And then the Guns are like, "Oh well, yeah, you're just gonna leave like
You're
you
gonna
walked out
do
on us."
you're gonna do what you've done your entire career and walk out on us, and then
And then kind of laughed and
he
kept on
he
walking.
and it wasn't until Austin was like, "Oh, well, we know what you're gonna do when you always drown out your sorrows. It's swallowing a pill bottle." Or
And then ran right to the ring. It's like, "Oh, you think you guys put your butt? So you guys, put your big boys pants. You look at me. You're the one that said it. Oh, you put your big boy pants on. You know what? Next week you're gonna get the match." And they kind of smile.
to which the
They
acclaimed were
kind of
like completely uh, taken aback by it because they're like, "What? Wait, what? We didn't agree to this." Because
so
initially the acclaimed said no to the challenge.
so thoughts on that one? I mean, we kind of already know what happened, but we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
We're not
so
going to spoil
we'll
anything.
talk
We're going
about
to
it
talk
on.
about it on episode 71.
Yeah,
Um,
same
yeah,
thing
actually,
with
we
Jamie
hit a
Hayter and the
we did.
Bunny.
I forgot we did hit a milestone. This is episode 70, and I tell you, we're really getting up there in these
Yeah,
episodes.
before you know it, we're gonna reach episode 100 by the end of the year.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about. Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, to get to 70 episodes, I didn't think we were even going to hit that mark. Uh, Again, thank you for the continued support as always. Um, we appreciate it. without you
It
guys,
does not go unnoticed. We
without
truly
this,
appreciate
we
each
would
and every
not be
one of you.
without you guys, we would not probably wouldn't even be the 70 episodes, to be honest with you. Um, so we're gonna get on to our next little bit here. Jungle Boy claims that he will be a champion all by himself. Thoughts? Well, I hate to say it, I think it's a little 4 years, a little too late for that. I mean, I get it, you don't want to do it as a tag team, but if you look at it this way, putting you guys together kind of makes the most sense because then you have something to go after. I understand you want to be a champion by yourself, but what titles are there? I guess if there's the All Atlantic Championship, there's a TNT Championship, two titles that he could potentially go after. I could probably see him be the All Atlantic Champion. That would probably be the best title for him to actually have. The TNT Championship, I don't see him going out there and beating Samoa Joe,
Yeah,
to be
I
honest
mean,
with you.
maybe if there was maybe if the TNT title was held by somebody other than Samoa Joe, I could see uh, Jungle Boy like potentially.
Like I
But
said,
yeah, no, just
I
right
can see
now,
Jungle
no.
Boy probably being your next All Atlantic champion. And I honestly,
Yeah, but
maybe that'll happen at Revolution. You never know. They could build
do
that
you
at.
really want to see Orange Cassidy lose the title this soon?
Um, no, but honestly, he's had a
I mean,
pretty lengthy
I was gonna
reign with
say
it too.
eventually Orange Cassidy is gonna have to lose the
He's had
title,
a pretty
but
lengthy reign with the title, so I think if he was the loser right now, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But yes, it does suck to have him
yeah,
possibly lose. Um,
I kind
I
of felt
will
the
say
same
yes,
way.
he will be a singles champion.
Yeah,
It's just not going to be the world title or the TNT
I
championship.
will say this: I kind of felt the same way about Pac when he lost to Orange Cassidy. I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for
Yeah,
Pac to lose it.
speaking of Pac and the Lucha Bros,
The Death Triangle.
where's Death Triangle been ever since their loss to the Elite?
That's a great question.
I guess we'll figure that out soon. I don't know. But we
It's
got
almost as if the Best of Seven series kind of wrote him off TV,
yeah, it kind of did. I mean, it sucks,
which is
but
weird.
um, hopefully there's gonna be some big payoff with the House of Black. I think my big thing, I still see the Elite in the House of Black facing off against each other at um. But then again, I could see like Eddie Kingston and maybe like House of Black kind of involved with each other. Maybe Malachi versus Eddie Kingston. I can see it being like, oh well, if you beat me, Eddie, you can join the house. But if I beat you, you know, you won't join. I
Well,
don't know.
the thing about it is like that's weird to me at least is like in a storyline sense, it doesn't really make a lot of like there's not a lot of logic behind it because the thing with at least Julia Hart in joining the House of Black is she had the mist spat in her eye, and then eventually she turned to the dark side.
Yeah,
So with Eddie Kingston, if he were to join, he would have to get the mist spat in his eye to embrace the darkness, and then like you know, hear
who
me out,
knows?
because that's like I said, that's how Julia Hart joined. So
Right,
you know,
that's true. Konosuke Takeshita faces off against Brian Cage. Honestly, pretty great back and forth contest between each other. Even though Takeshita was just basically like wiping a fucking mat with Brian Cage. I mean,
yeah.
as much as I love Brian Cage and he's a badass and can move really well and very athletic for a big man like he is, um, basically just got his ass whooped by Takeshita. Takeshita, I will say, maybe in a few years he's going to be a megastar in AEW. I really can see it.
You don't think he already is?
I mean, he already is without having a championship, but like I can see him like
I see what you're
really
saying. Once
being
he
like
wins a championship, then he'll
I
really
think so.
ascend.
I think he's somebody that could honestly beat Samoa Joe for the TNT Championship. He's got that star power. I think he's somebody that can really take the TNT Championship to the next freaking level,
I
or take a
mean, no
championship and
disrespect to Takeshita, but I just don't really see him being the person to take it off of Samoa Joe.
I mean, unfortunately, we'll get to that, but I really do think that Wardlow and him are going to face off against each other. I don't see Wardlow taking the title back. Hope to hell that's not going to be the case. But if it is, fine. Maybe you can actually right your wrongs and have him
I was
actually
gonna
have a
say,
nice reign with a TNT
like,
championship.
the thing is, if you're gonna do that, give him fresh
Oh,
competition,
I agree.
like you were doing with Darby, like you were doing with Samoa Joe.
So ultimately, yes, Takeshita does beat Brian Cage, but I think it came with a cost because he didn't get it easily. He had to battle Brian Cage to be able to get that win. But it just sucks because every single week, yes, Brian Cage is being utilized, but every single week is L, 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 L. Like, I get it, he's more of an ROH guy than he is AEW, but if you're going to utilize him in AEW, can you at least get him some wins? I mean,
I
I get it,
agree.
he's getting it
Yeah,
on Dark and Dark Elevation, but come on now.
that's just a show that's not really seen by a lot of people.
Yeah, because they're specifying it as like ROH talent being really utilized on those shows. Well, here's the thing: if that's going to be the case, then
Make dark,
start filming the ROH televised Weekly Orbit episodes. If that's the case, I say get rid of Dark Elevation and start having a lot of talent that you will use on Dark and Dark Elevation on ROH and start recording the weekly episodic television shows because on Honor Club, because if that's going to be the case and you're going to start just utilizing Dark Elevation for showing a lot of your ROH talent and defending a lot of those titles, you might as well start filming for Honor Club with ROH.
Yeah, I agree. And that's been a pretty good question of mine for a while now. Is when the hell is Tony Khan gonna start taping
To be
like
honest with you,
stuff
I
for
think
Honor
he's probably
Club
going to specify it with
at Super Card of
Super
Honor?
Card of Honor.
I hope so
I
because
think so. Because something has to be said on that show of, oh
if
yeah,
not with that, certainly with, and we'll get to that, like I said, on next week's episode with Jay Briscoe, hopefully on Rampage.
well, Jay, you mean
Or
Mark?
yes,
I
I'm
was gonna
sorry, Mark.
say,
Yes, Mark
wow,
Briscoe.
you know what? You should go to hell for saying that, Marty, because
I'm
Jay
sorry.
Briscoe,
Yes.
rest in peace, brother. Mark, yes, we'll find out. Well, if anybody is actually going to be watching Rampage later tonight, we will hear from him if anybody's going to watch it. But we'll definitely talk about it on um, Wednesday's episode about what we're going to hear from him. I don't know. I'm thinking he's probably going to sign with AEW, but who knows? Maybe we'll hear something where he'll continue being wrestling for ROH or he'll start wrestling for AEW. I'm hoping it's something where he'll continue wrestling in his brother's name because I'm pretty sure Jay would want him to still continue wrestling.
Yeah.
But as far as that goes, Ricky Starks, well, he has to go through quite a gauntlet to be able to get to Chris
Yeah, the
Jericho.
Garcia Guevara gauntlet.
Yes. So he's got to go through at least Matt Menard, Angelo Parker, and either Sammy Guevara or Daniel Garcia. He'll know the day of the gauntlet who he's going to be going up against. I guess there's going to be a little surprise because I would assume that Matt Menard and Angelo Parker are going to be like the first two to go up against, and then the last guy would be, either Sammy Guevara or Daniel Garcia. I'm thinking it's going to be Daniel Garcia. I mean, I don't know what you think. Do you think it's going to be Sammy, or do you think it's going to be Daniel Garcia?
I mean, it could be either or.
To be honest with
that's
you,
the beauty of it. You don't know until the day of.
Oh, I know. And I really do think it's going to be Daniel Garcia because Sammy Guevara wants him to kind of fight his battles for him. So I think it's going to be Daniel Garcia more than Sammy Guevara.
Yeah, because basically right now it seems like Sammy Guevara is playing the role of like the chicken shit heel who sends in Daniel Garcia to fight his battles for him.
Yeah, It kind of does seem like that. So I really do think that he's going to win this gauntlet and get the match against Jericho at Revolution.
Yeah. I mean, it only makes sense.
Um, it sucks that Action Andretti won't be with Ricky Starks to go up against Jericho and Guevara
But
or
the thing about it is,
Garcia, but
Action Andretti kind of needs his own thing to do. You know what I mean?
yeah, and Wrestle
So,
on Dark and Dark Elevation. Oh, sorry.
well,
Sorry.
maybe not so much that. If anything, you'd probably get it on like Rampage.
Yeah, probably. Um, why not show him more on Rampage? It doesn't.
Next match, though.
Yes, we'll talk about it. But Ricky Starks is going to win that gauntlet match, and I think he's going to get to the Chris Jericho. But
as soon as that match was announced, I was like, man, we are in for a treat.
Yes. Bryan Danielson and Timothy Thatcher.
Man, like, even when I was discussing Thatcher with the Pro Wrestling Noah Great Muta final match, like, man, I just missed the hell out of Timothy Thatcher. And I'm glad that he's doing his own thing in Pro Wrestling Noah, but at the same time, it's like, I don't really have access to watch Pro Wrestling Noah besides if it's broadcast on like Fight TV, which usually it is not unless it was for that special occasion like for Great Muta's final match. So when he faced off against that whoever it was in Japan, I don't remember, but like it was just so good to see him wrestling again. And even with this match against Bryan Danielson, it's like, man, it's a nice fresh bit of like, you know. So
I mean, these two men literally beat the living crap out of each other. I think it was more so Thatcher than
yes, he
Danielson.
did get in a bit more offense than Danielson, but
Danielson, man, I mean, he's really having to go through the ringer. He has to literally go through so many, talented guys, to be able to get the MGF that 60-man Iron Man match, or 60-minute Iron Man match. Yeah. I still think that's going to be one of the best matches in AEW history right there. It's a 60-minute Iron Man match for the AEW World Championship. But, Danielson, even though he has a partially dislocated shoulder, he still, still whooped some ass and was able to beat Timothy Thatcher to keep, the hopes alive to be able to get the title opportunity. Of course, we'll talk about next match, but MJF and Takeshita. Of course, okay, yes. So after Danielson beat Timothy Thatcher, MJF was trying to come down and get involved, and then Takeshita
during the match.
Yeah, during the match, MJF was trying to come down after.
And then Takeshita came up in a hood.
After I think Stefan got.
Was it Stefan?
Yes.
Yeah.
He got hit into the corner there, and then MJF was going to try to come down and beat down Danielson to get him involved in the match, and then all of a sudden, who is that just beat down MJF? It's Takeshita, and they go in the back. They start fighting in the back after the match.
And Renee Paquette gets a word in her earpiece
that they will have an eliminator match. Thoughts on that one? I really do think that Takeshita is going to beat MJF and get a future world title opportunity. And why not? I think he's well deserving of it. I think it will be the first time where somebody in an eliminator match will actually win it and get a future title opportunity.
Yeah, because honestly, like, nothing against the eliminator matches like before, but at the same time, it's like, what's the point if the challenger is not even going to win the? I
think Takeshita is going to get it because Tony Khan sees a lot in, promise in Takeshita, and I can rightfully so. Like, he is proven that he can go against anybody that is thrown in the ring with him. I think that he's going to beat MJF, even though, yes, that would technically make the champion look weak, but ultimately it's a non-title match, so how much I don't think it's gonna hurt or derail MJF as long as the title, the championship match, he actually wins and beats him clean and stuff like that. Then it would make him look strong heading into the match at Revolution. Um, but I honestly think that Takeshita is gonna beat MJF. I just don't think it's gonna be clean.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, but who knows?
But I really do think that Takeshita is actually going to be the first one to win the Eliminator match and get a future title opportunity, probably on the next Dynamite afterwards.
Maybe.
So we'll see. So Roosh and Bryan Danielson to face off. Um, we'll talk about that next episode. And then MGF
Pays off.
pays off Roosh. He gives him a big old briefcase full of money and says,
Apparently
"Well,
he's got
if you
like
finish
5
the
more.
job, you're gonna get 5 more briefcases just like this one." That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I get it; it's not real, but that's a lot of money if you think about it. Technically, like 6 briefcases full of money.
Yeah.
Damn, Roosh is gonna be making 7 figures, and you don't have to do a
He
whole
doesn't
lot.
even have a.
All he has
He's
to
gonna
do
be
is just
making
finish.
7 figures, and it's not even a WrestleMania payoff.
I know. All he has to do is just finish the job against Danielson to make sure that that 60-minute Iron Man match is not going to happen. Thoughts? Do you think Roosh is going to be the one that's going to be able to do it, or do you think Bryan Danielson is going to actually get a match? Well, clearly it's going to be Bryan Danielson getting the match, but it might come with a price. I think Roosh is going to do by any means necessary beat the living crap out of Danielson, so then
Yeah,
he
I
can be
think
as much
Danielson like
damaged before this match.
yeah.
I think after this match, you might not see Danielson on TV as much. Until the match, they'll probably rehab a little bit. They'd be 100% heading into that match, but I think that it's going to come with a price for Danielson and Roosh. Of course, this card for Championship Fight Night looks pretty good, but damn, I'm looking forward to it honestly. Um, but yeah, I think Bryan Danielson's going to get the win here, but it's going to come with a price. I think Roosh is going to do whatever, by any means necessary, do whatever he can to make sure to beat down and make sure that he's not 100% heading into that 60-minute Iron Man match.
Yeah.
So Jade Cargill, there's not really much to talk about this. She beats Red Velvet to retain the TBS Championship to go to 50-0.
Yeah.
First, women's wrestler to ever go undefeated in AEW.
Yeah. I was about to say. So yes, she's the first wrestler to go undefeated. She is not the first wrestler to go to to achieve 50 wins, or at
Yes.
least the first women's wrestler to achieve 50 wins.
Yeah.
That goes to Hikaru Shida.
Now, it makes you wonder who's next to challenge Jade for the TBS Championship.
Statlander.
Is she even healthy now? That's the
Well,
problem.
I was going to get into that when she's healthy and can return.
I don't think she's
gonna
going to be available for Revolution, unfortunately, unless something changes between now and
Probably
then.
not, but I mean,
But ultimately, I just do
she's
not.
got to be the one to dethrone Jade
Oh, I
Cargill,
think she
though.
will be, but the problem is like
Yeah,
because
I
this
just don't
women's
think she...
division is definitely so surely missing Chris Statlander right now.
Very much so.
But is she truly actually going to be the one to dethrone Jade Cargill? And the problem is, once you dethrone Jade Cargill, what's next for her? Is she going to be able to go after the Women's World Championship? Or is she going to be kind of like no longer seen on wrestling? Because, you make her this big dominant
I mean,
star.
I just don't...
You take the title off of her, and then it's like, what do you do with her now?
I was going to say, I hope that with her losing the TBS title and her first match, that she doesn't lose all of her momentum.
I hope not either.
You can't do that to Jade. You really can't. And especially, you built her up as this, unstoppable force in AEW that, she's essentially the Goldberg of the AEW women's division.
Right.
So, But the thing that you can't do with Jade that WCW did with Goldberg is once her undefeated streak ends,
Yeah.
don't kill her momentum.
No, definitely not.
Which is what WCW did with Goldberg. He
Right.
lost that match against Kevin Nash for the world title, and then they just killed all of his momentum.
And that was what the finger poke of Doom?
No.
Oh
It
no.
was when
Oh no. That was when
Hall used
Hogan.
a cattle prod uh, on uh, Goldberg, and then Nash hit him with the
Oh, that's right. Wasn't it the
jackknife
taser or something like that?
cattle prod.
Yeah.
Yeah, which essentially is the same thing as
Yeah,
a
and then
taser.
hit him with a jackknife power bomb
Yeah, and then
and beat
that's
him 1, 2, 3.
yep.
Yeah.
And
But
after that, they didn't know what else to do with Goldberg. They were like,
well, we were talking about the beatdown. Then Ruby Soho checks in on Britt after she gets attacked. But Britt's like, oh, it's kind of, where were you before? It's kind of odd that you come in after I get attacked. It's almost like you had something to do with it. Um,
for all we
your
know, she might have.
thoughts on that one? I think she did. I think she got Saraya and Tony starting to beat down on Britt Baker to get her out of the equation, so then she get one step closer to going after Jamie Hayter for the World Wrestling the Women's World Championship. You know,
I don't know. I mean,
because if you think about it,
solid prediction.
They, they probably are super tight because they're all former WWE, wrestlers, and I'm sure they all know each other very well, from NXT and main roster. I mean, even though Tony Storm was never on the main roster to my knowledge.
Well, the thing about it though is Paige and it's weird.
Well,
though,
Ruby Soho does know Paige because at least they were both there on the main roster during,
Yeah, but I mean, I was gonna say Tony Storm and Saraya, at least in WWE, their paths have never crossed. So
Yeah.
that's not that it's not that it doesn't make a lot of sense for Saraya to team with Tony, but at the same time, it doesn't make a lot of sense that they're teaming up.
Right. I mean, it does seem pretty odd, but I honestly,
said, their paths never crossed.
I think it was on. I think it was on purpose. Like I said, I think Ruby Soho is going to choose a good side, take out Britt Baker, so then she's not with Jamie Hayter, and I really do think that she's going to get that title opportunity, and I think it's kind of about time, but I don't think she's going to be the one to be able to dethrone Jamie Hayter. I think it's too soon. I still see Britt Baker eventually getting that opportunity against Jamie, but who knows? We'll see what happens. But we get on to our main event of the night. No holds barred between Samoa Joe and Darby Allin. Darby Allin's coming down with a
thumbtack covered jacket.
More like a vest, but yeah, jacket covered with thumbtacks. Immediately, jumps into him with the thumbtacks. These two men are just going at each other. I mean, Darby got thrown all around by Samoa Joe. Had a table. Basically, Darby went full force. Samoa Joe got cut on the corner with a table. Bled the hard way. They tore the ring apart. Coffin drop.
With although it was kind of a botched spot because he couldn't put the hoodie on all the way.
But I mean, still got him with the thumbtacks. I mean, they went into the crowd. Samoa Joe basically threw him right into on the
right
stairs.
On the stairs. Yeah.
I mean, Darby went through the table, and then Samoa Joe muscle busted him from the top rope onto the exposed
canvas.
lumber or wood or whatever you want to call it, but exposed canvas, yes. And then these two men are just battled each other for the TNT Championship. I mean, ultimately, Darby and Samoa Joe put on a great match. But yeah, Samoa Joe is now your new TNT champion. And then Wardlow comes out to beat down Samoa Joe afterwards. Gets held back by security, beats them down, and Wardlow now has a new look. No longer has the man bun or the long hair. Makes you think. It's a good look for him. I think I
But he
like
kind of
the.
looks like Frankie Kazarian now.
I kind of like the flat top shaved sides look of Wardlow. It makes him look like he's like.
But with that, like I said, it also kind of makes him look like Frankie Kazarian now.
Right.
So,
Ultimately, I really do think that.
hey, I guess they needed somebody to replace Frankie Kazarian now that he's no
Stop
longer on
that.
the AEW roster.
um, I really do think that you're going to see those two facing off for the TNT Championship or Revolution. But it makes you wonder, why did Samoa Joe lose the title to Darby Allin in the first place? You could have still had him competing and putting the title on the line, and then Wardlow could have been the
Yeah, because not for
eventual
nothing.
opponent at Revolution.
Because
I
not
get
for
it.
nothing,
You gave Darby a second run, and you had him
yeah,
defending
but it
against
wasn't a
great.
really memorable second
Not
run.
really.
His first reign was more memorable than his second.
But
Yeah.
I guess Wardlow and Samoa Joe kind of work, and it makes sense in the long run. But still, you haven't seen Wardlow on TV in a long time since losing the championship to
He
Samoa
basically took
Joe.
that time off to get a haircut.
They probably work out some more. Who the hell knows? Um, but yeah. So we got onto the first match of Rampage as the Elite face off against the Firm, and the Elite beat the Firm. It was Matt Hardy, Ethan Page, and Isaiah Cassidy. Um, they retained the World Trios Tag Team titles. I didn't realize it was four of those titles until they said it was four of those titles.
Oh
I
yeah.
kind of figured that was what was going to be happening, but I knew they were going to face off against each other. I didn't realize it was going to be four of those titles.
Yeah, because they announced it on Dynamite that they were like, well, you guys aren't doing anything tonight, but how about on Rampage, you guys come down and you put those belts on the line.
I guess it makes sense. It gives the Elite a new opponent, but it makes you wonder who they're going to face off against at. Um, I still think, and spoiler alert, you know, fortunately the Guns beat the Acclaimed. I still think it's going to be the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn against the Elite for the World Trios Tag Team titles. Something.
Yeah.
You get an opponent, but and I still think it's going to be Malachi and Eddie facing off against each other at Revolution because it seems like that's kind of like what they're leaning towards.
It's possible, yeah.
Speaking of that, we're going to get to that soon, but before that, Swerve Strickland, there's not really much about this match, beats Brian Pillman Jr., and then the rest of the Mogul affiliates beat down Brian Pillman Jr., and then Dustin Rhodes comes down to stop the beatdown. Ultimately, I think the payoff here is you're going to see Dustin and Swerve Strickland facing off against each other, maybe on the 0 hour before the show, because that seems to kind of happen. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I
there's a
think you're
lot
going to
of
see Dustin Rhodes and Swerve Strickland on the 0 hour of Revolution.
well, that's the thing. Is it the 0 hour for Revolution or is it the buy-in for Revolution?
It might be the buy-in, but who knows? I do think that's what's going to happen. You're going to see Dustin Rhodes and Swerve Strickland facing off against each other. And ultimately,
Yeah.
I think you're going to. I don't think this is going to be the end of Dustin Rhodes and the Mogul affiliates and Swerve Strickland, because I think that Mogul affiliates are going to beat down Dustin Rhodes. I think Swerve's going to win, and you're going to see the Mogul affiliates beating down Dustin. And I think you're going to see maybe two new guys or something like that save Dustin, and it's going to lead into a whole like trios match. But the problem is, if you think about it, this is a good question to ask. Who do you think is going to save Dustin in the end of the day?
Hmm.
Because Unfortunately, um, you have Lee Johnson as a heel, no
Yeah,
longer with there. Brock Anderson's still out there, but I'm pretty sure he was off doing whatever his own stuff. I don't know.
I don't
Um,
even know if he was officially signed by AEW. So, like,
so it makes you wonder who else is there that can save Dustin Rhodes from getting beaten down by the mogul affiliates? Because you know that's going to be happening. Is that he's going to get beaten down?
Keith Lee.
Yeah, but then who else? Keith Lee, he can be there, but it has to be somebody
That's
else too.
true. That's true too. Yeah, I mean, but
I think, yeah, I really do think it could be Keith Lee, but who else will Keith Lee have? Um, it makes you
I
wonder who
mean,
else is going to be there to
I
save
was gonna
Dustin
say if
Rhodes.
he wasn't in NXT, Dijak, but yeah, he kind of, because him and Keith Lee are like kind of, but yeah,
I mean Keith Lee, but like, I don't know. I mean,
I don't know who else. I mean, well, actually, may no, because the continuity aspect of like what happened with Swerve in Our Glory and Shane Taylor Promotions, like I was gonna say maybe Shane Taylor, but
it could happen. It could be Shane Taylor, and
then the whole continuity thing, like
I know.
it gets
Um,
thrown out the window. Well, to be fair though, continuity tends to get thrown out the window a lot, especially with the whole like Ruby Soho and Britt Baker thing. So
yeah, that's true
I
too.
guess technically, if you want to be, I guess Shane Taylor would make the most sense
Right.
to back up Keith Lee, but I don't know.
So there's not really much to talk about this next match. Tony Storm and Saraya beat the Renegade Twins, and then Saraya and Tony Storm spray paint the
Or did
Renegade.
you get into?
Oh yes, actually before that, the House of Black doesn't want Eddie Kingston, and Eddie Kingston doesn't want the House of Black. Thoughts? It was kind of like a weird like promo that was going on with that, but it was kind of more so like, Eddie, we don't want you. I know you want to like join us if if we allow you to, but we don't want you. And trust me, you don't want to be a part of the House of Black at all because the darkness is not gonna doesn't want to consume you or something like that. Because so
Well, like
I
from the way they made it sound, it's almost as if like, oh, uh, Eddie Kingston's too much of a spiritual man, like too much of a religious man that you know we don't want that in our group. It's like it's almost as if like the House of Black are basically saying like, oh yeah, we need you to convert to like Satanism or something along those lines.
yeah. I, I don't
But
think
maybe
Eddie.
I'm blowing it completely out
I
of
don't know.
context and out of
I
proportion.
mean, you might be right, but you know, it makes you wonder. Like, does Eddie Kingston really want to be consumed by darkness and go down a dark path again and join the House of Black, or does he, want to do his own thing and whatnot? It makes you wonder. Will he actually join the House of Black? Will there be, 5 members of the House of Black with Eddie Kingston, or will Eddie Kingston, somehow lose to Malachi and then still be on his own? See, it would be so nice if it was like Ortiz and Eddie Kingston against like I don't know a couple members, like say like the Kings of the Black Throne against Eddie Kingston and Ortiz. That would make a little bit more sense because that's because they've been kind of involved with the House
Yeah,
of Black. But who knows? We'll see. But I really do think that you're going to see Eddie Kingston and Malachi. But I don't think this is going to be the end of Eddie Kingston and Malachi because ultimately I think that maybe Ortiz will, he'll go back to Ortiz and Ortiz will forgive him and stuff like that. Or what about this? Why don't we see something trios wise and then somehow Homicide joins up with Ortiz and a Kingston?
yeah, but with that, it would mean that Homicide would have to like potentially give up his contractual like obligations to the NWA. I mean, unless it's like some one-off
I
thing,
think it's going
which
to be a
I'm
one off.
sure NWA and AEW would be able to. Because, I mean, NWA has worked with AEW in the past. I don't
Right.
see why, they wouldn't be okay with Homicide having a one-off, like,
Oh,
match.
I'm pretty sure they would be okay with that. To be honest with you, I'm
But
pretty
then
sure.
again, Billy Corgan has kind of gone off the deep end with his brand, not for nothing. So
I
I don't
know.
know. I mean, he might just look at AEW and be like, ah, fuck that Tony Khan. I
That's
don't
true.
know.
Well,
I
yeah,
mean,
you're probably not wrong either, but ultimately, I think that there's going to be something that's going to happen here. I was talking about it beforehand, but yeah, Tony Storm and Saraya beat the Renegade Twins, and then afterwards, Saraya and Tony Storm spray paint the twins' stomachs with the letter L. I don't know what was the whole point of that, but
'cause they're losers.
yeah, losers. Um, and then we got on to the main event here. Roosh
Former Ring of
face,
Honor World Champions
facing off
squaring
against
off.
each other. This was basically a ROH match that happened in AEW
Glorified,
Rampage,
yes.
but ultimately Roosh beats Christopher Daniels. There wasn't really much that happened with this match,
Yeah.
honestly. Um,
You thought Daniels was going to hit the BME on Roosh, but Roosh got the knees up.
the broken
So,
the the
the broken. Yeah, sure, it's the broken moonsault ever. No, it's the best moonsault ever.
um, maybe you thought you were gonna see Angel's wings, but you didn't. Roosh beats Christopher Daniels, kind of looking strong heading into his match against Bryan Danielson, where he's gonna take a nice L.
Yeah.
So this is going to conclude this episode of No Final Bell. Thank you for getting us to 70 episodes. Again, it wouldn't be possible without you, the fans, for supporting. But if you want to, but please make sure to do us one favor: like, comment, subscribe, share this video with anybody that likes wrestling. Of course, follow our channel. Follow us on social media, Tinkle Sports. Follow our channel at Tinkle Sports Entertainment. And of course, every Wednesday at 5 typically is No Final Bell. We also have Sunday morning Tinkle every Sunday at 9 a.m. where you don't want to miss it. We're going to talk about everything that's the Super Bowl, best Super Bowl moments, best snacks. We'll be talking about that. So make sure to watch out for that, and also make sure to watch out for out of turn 4 if you're big into racing and NASCAR and everything like that, because Brian's a cool guy. You want to give him some support and be able to check out him. If you get annoyed with Sunday Morning Tinkle, you can just, watch out of turn 4. If you're tired of no Final Bell, you can also watch me on Sunday Morning Tinkle. Who knows? I know you don't get enough of us one way or another.
If you're tired of me, you can always block me on social media, or even just not watch my show in general. I won't be offended. I promise.
But we will. Like I said, this is going to conclude this episode. We'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye, everyone.